Hey babes, it is the beginning of 2017 and so it's time for me to do my annual recap of all of my favorite makeup and beauty goodies from the last year. So I wanted to just do a huge overview of every single makeup thing from each category so that you have one big giant list of things that you can go splurge to your heart's content. Let's go ahead and get started. So I've always been the biggest eyeshadow lover. It's probably one of my weakest points when it comes to collecting things. So there are two main palettes this year that I was just completely smitten with. This will come as no surprise. It's the Too Faced Peanut Butter and Jelly palette. This came out earlier in the year and I'm not kidding you, I think I've used just this on my eyes more often than I haven't. I love how it's such a tiny size. I love the little metal packaging that it has, and it ignited my obsession with warm eyeshadows. I've always preferred warmer eyeshadows on my eyes to cooler shades just because I have a yellow undertone and it's just a little bit more flattering on me. So I've just been really happy that basically every makeup company across the board this year has also jumped on the warm eyeshadow wagon. And I have to say this just kind of became my new normal, the shades that I feel comfortable feeling really pretty in on a daily basis. Honestly, the two colors that I don't really use in the palette are the two purples, but y'all know Too Faced loves throwing in their purples in every single palette. I guess that's the jelly part of it. I have to say the whole palette, all of the neutral shades are winners in my book. I absolutely love it. The next eyeshadow that I've been totally in love with is one that I got a little bit more recently, but I've heard the makeup community just go crazy about this for the longest time. And I can totally see why now that I own it. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. I have been using this one every day just about since I've bought it. This one's a little bit different than the PBJ palette because it mixes a little bit more reddish tones and rosy colors in with the warm tones as well. The thing that makes this one different than other eyeshadow palettes is the quality of the shadow. I feel like it's milled really finely and everything is really well pigmented and super buttery smooth, so you don't have to like really rub your brush into it to get a lot of color, and it just blends beautifully on the eyes. This is what I'm wearing on my lids today, and I've actually had quite a range of neutral kind of looks that I've done with this palette. I would love to do maybe a tutorial for you guys pretty soon, but if you guys have the opportunity to pick this up, I highly recommend it because the quality is just next level. For face primers, I'm going to talk about something that I've loved for several years. It's again my #1 favorite, and it's really basically my one and done primer. This is the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. I love it because it keeps any greasiness and oiliness at bay. It doesn't feel too heavy, but it still also smooths out my complexion so that it makes a really nice finish for the foundation going on top of it. Plus the foundation just lasts a lot longer and wears away looking really natural like skin. So I really, really love it. I'm definitely going to repurchase this and I don't see myself stopping loving this anytime soon. For foundation, because of my pregnancy of course, but also just because it's so easy, I have to say the one that I wore absolutely the most almost every day, especially on days where I wasn't filming, it's the BareMinerals Original Foundation. For some reason, no matter how often I venture out into liquid makeup, I always come back to this when my skin's kind of reacting because it just has the least amount of irritating ingredients for my particular skin. So I love mineral makeup because I just feel like it doesn't make me break out, and that's a really wonderful thing. It's maybe not my absolute favorite for photos and stuff on camera, but just for like every day, it just looks like skin, but better. For liquid foundation, I have two favorites, and it really kind of depends on the reason I'm wearing liquid foundation. When I'm talking about most normal days, I'm going out into the world, I want to look really healthy and natural, but have a nice soft kind of coverage. I love the Koh Gen Do liquid foundation. This is the Myfanshi Aqua Foundation, I believe it's called, and I use the shade 123. One of the reasons I love this so much not only is just because, again, it looks so much like skin, but the shade matches my skin tone really, really well. I really love that this doesn't look too orange, it doesn't look too pink or too yellow on me. It's just my perfect skin tone. This isn't super, super heavy, but you can layer it to get full coverage. I usually keep it at a medium coverage for everyday kind of looks where I just want to look really healthy and glowy. It has a beautiful satin finish. I will recommend this until I no longer can speak recommendations. And then I have also really, really loved the Nars Sheer Glow foundation. I use the shade Punjab, and again, one of the reasons why I love it is because I feel like it's a really perfect match for my skin tone. This one has a little bit of a creamier texture than the Koh Gen Do, so I really love it for when I am doing things on camera. It doesn't have any SPF in it, so there's no flashback, so this is especially beautiful on camera, in photos, for like wearing for weddings, anything where you're going to have a lot of different lighting conditions. This is just going to look really beautiful basically in every situation. It also has a more matte satiny finish, like a creamy finish. It's not dewy at all, it's not shimmery, but it also doesn't overly dry my skin. For blush, I have one that I have not talked about in previous years, but I have worn this so much. This is the Kevyn Aucoin, the Neo Bronzer in Siena Warm Coral. Again, to go with my orangey eyeshadows this year, I've been going with an equally orangey blush palette. This one has kind of an ombre effect, highlight, blush, and bronzer, and I don't use the highlight section all the time, but the blush and bronzer I use basically on a daily basis. It's so easy to just get the right shade that I want that day, because if I wanted a little bit more bronzy and mixing it with the blush to just do a contoured blush look, I'll go a little more toward this end, and if I wanted a little more glowy and bright, I go a little bit more toward this end. But this shade is just super flattering on my skin tone. It perfectly matches my everyday look, and it's so beautiful. I mean, just look at that. It's so beautiful, and it's just an all-in-one palette. I really, really love this. And we all know how huge the highlighting, glowy, strobing trend has been this past year. This is going to be a little newbie that I have completely fallen in love with, and just basically kind of at the end of this year. And I also don't think I've heard anybody else talk about this. Because my skin has been a little bit on the drier side lately, especially with the winter weather, I've been going for a cream highlighter, and this one is the best. This is from Burberry Beauty. It's their Gold Shimmer No. 01 Gold Touch Eye, Lip, and Cheek Illuminator. This has the really cute gold holiday packaging, but this cream is really pigmented. It almost comes off like a gold cream eyeshadow, but once it's on the cheeks, it just melts in so beautifully. And because it is a cream product, it just kind of sinks into the skin better than powder products, especially in the winter time when your skin gets a little bit more dehydrated. The powders just kind of seem to sit on top of your skin instead of really looking like that lit from within glow. It doesn't scream glitter, it just has the perfect amount of glow, but it's enough where you notice it. It's not subtle by any means. But yeah, this just makes me feel like I'm glowing but not screaming disco queen, if you know what I mean. So if you get a chance to try this out, I highly recommend it. As I was thinking about my favorite concealers of this year, I really just ended up landing on this one. Normally I have a few because I'm like, oh, I use this for this and I use this for that. But this year, I really have just mostly used this one. You gotta give it up to Maybelline. They do a really great concealer. This is their Fit Me concealer. I use the color 20 Sand, and if you just want a fairly lightweight finish that you can wear on your entire face and just do a really fast 5-10 minute face, this is my #1 go-to. It's not overly drying, but it also melts into my skin better than other concealers I've tried. It is a little bit more on the liquidy side, so if you need a super full coverage, I definitely go with something more like the Nars Creamy Concealer. At this price point, this is a fabulous concealer, and it's been a really good friend this year. Eyebrows have been another gigantic trend this year, and I've definitely gone for a fuller, more natural, darker brow than I have in years past. So what I've been doing is a combo of Benefit Gimme Brow. Now, you're gonna have to forgive me, I'm using the older packaging because I just can't bear to move on to my newer ones until the older ones are used up. But Benefit Gimme Brow is what I use first, and then I go through and fill it in with a pencil. Depending on the amount of eyeshadow that I'm wearing that day, I'll either go for this lighter shade, which is Makeup Forever Pro Sculpting Brow in shade 20. This is actually, I think, supposed to be for blondes. It's kind of an ashy tan color, but I like it because I don't like to have my brows too dark. And then if I'm going for a little bit more of a smokier eye, I'll go for a darker pencil. This one is the Burberry Effortless Eyebrow Definer in Ebony No. 05. This is such a beautiful luxury eyebrow pencil. The actual pencil part is so creamy and glides on really, really well. And the spoolie is extra fine, so it just brushes through everything and makes everything look really beautiful and natural. I like that I don't have to use a lot of product, because some of my other pencils, like the Makeup Forever one, I have to really swipe it on there to get the amount of coverage that I want, and it's a little bit more waxy. But for this one, I just use the slightest amount of pressure and it just has a really, really beautiful line. In general, I've put a big focus on my brows this year, and I've really been enjoying spending the extra time on my brows. Moving on to lip products, this is the year of the liquid lipsticks, the matte lips, and lip oils. So those were really my favorite products across the board. I'm gonna start off with my favorite lip oil. This is from Lancome. It's their Juicy Shakers. I've mentioned this in quite a lot of my favorite videos this year, and this is my absolutely top #1 color. It's called Wondermelon. It smells amazing. It's fun to apply because it has this like squishy, soft, spongy applicator at the end, and it just gives me a really beautiful Korean style gradient lip. The smell is fabulous, the taste, the color, the shade, the application, and the fun factor. It's whimsical, and I love keeping this on me all the time. It's just a really, really cute go-to, and I also like that once the gloss wears off, it stains your lips a little bit, so it actually lasts a little bit longer than other just regular lip glosses. Frankly, I'm okay tossing out 95% of all of my lip glosses and just replacing them with these Juicy Shakers. I love it that much. For lipsticks, I decided to keep it really minimalist this year and just go with my top 1 to share with you guys. And I grabbed this again because I haven't heard quite a lot of other people talk about this at all, and I feel like this lipstick needs a little bit more recognition. This is from Shiseido, and this is their Shimmering Rouge. This is RD718. It's just a really beautiful neutral brownish pinky shade, and it's kind of like a grown-up MLBB. It just has a little bit of that sepia toned shade to make it look a little throwback 90s, but the formula is really moisturizing and it feels great. I really, really, really love wearing this on an everyday basis, and it's become my new MLBB. For lip liner, I wanted to share what I'm wearing on my lips today, which isn't a lipstick, it is just this lip liner, and it's my new favorite red to wear. It's by Tarte, and it's the Tarteist lip pencil in Thirsty. And I think what I like the most about this is I expected it to be super fire engine red, but when I put it on, it just looks really sophisticated. It's slightly deeper without going too vampy. So it's like it has that brightness, but it just looks more refined. It's also super easy to apply precisely, which I think is so important when you're wearing a red lipstick, because it's already a pencil, and then when I put it on, it doesn't feel overly drying like other pencils. I forget I'm even wearing it, which is a lot to say for a really bright lip. And I would definitely repurchase just this pencil to wear as a lipstick all the time. Now for the matte liquid lipsticks, I have 3 top favorites. Generally when I wear liquid lipstick, it's because I really want to make a statement. So I have to say this Tarte's lip paint in Twerk is just a beautiful bright fuchsia. It really just brightens up my whole face and goes with my yellow undertone complexion so well. For the least transferring, so doesn't get onto cups and kisses, I really love Jouer's lip cream, and the shade that I really fell in love with is Watermelon, which is a little bit more of a brighter red, and it's really flattering on a lot of skin tones, but most of all, it does not transfer. I've tried a lot of liquid lipsticks this year, especially reds, that just inevitably get everywhere. It gets on my teeth, gets on my baby, my husband, my cups, and it makes me really sad. So that's one reason I definitely go for this one more frequently. And then I also want to give a shout out to Smashbox because their always on liquid lipstick feels really good on my lips. Other brands, a lot of the times it feels like your lips are getting the life sucked out of them, and I just don't feel that way with this one. This one feels really smooth, it goes on very easily. It's not quite as impermeable as the Jouer, but it is a little bit more comfortable. So I like having a few different options from these different brands. For lash products, I really didn't have just a regular mascara that I totally fell in love with this year that I haven't already just used as a regular mascara in years past. But I really wanted to bring attention to my Clinique Bottom Lash Mascara. This is one go-to that I've been using every time I want to do a really complete eye look and have my lower lashes really give a very wide open, lengthened appearance. A lot of mascaras just don't cling on to my lower lashes. I mean, they're kind of sparse enough to begin with, and I feel like the Bottom Lash Mascara really does separate them and make them look as nice as possible. And I know it sounds kind of crazy to just have a separate mascara for your lower lashes, but for me, it made a huge, huge difference. Last but certainly not least, I wanted to talk about 3 skincare items that have been just the most amazing favorites this year. First of all, I wanted to talk about what I've been doing to remove my makeup. I love my oil. I love my Shu Uemura cleansing oil. It's my favorite cleansing oil. I love how it smells. I love how it feels. I love that when I use it on my eyes, I don't get that greasy residue that I get the blurry eye syndrome the next morning after. This doesn't do that. It washes all my makeup off really nicely and it leaves my skin feeling super, super soft. Come on, look how freaking adorable the Shu Uemura Murakami collaboration is. It just makes me so happy when I see it on my makeup counter, but even without the print, the product is really amazing. Yes, it's a little bit splurgy for a cleansing oil, and yes, you can put other things on your face to remove your makeup, but I just haven't fallen in love with a cleansing oil like I have this one because the texture just works really well for my particular skin. It doesn't cause me any breakouts and it makes my skin just feel and look so much more radiant. I've been using this every single day, and one of the things I like about using a cleansing oil in general and doing the double wash method, which is the cleansing oil first and then my regular face wash after to just get rid of all of any oily residue, is that you don't have to buy any other cotton rounds and cause more trash. This just washes everything really cleanly. And I don't think I'm going to be going back to using a separate eye makeup remover because this just gets everything off in one fell swoop, including the most waterproof of eyeliners, mascaras, and liquid lipsticks. And I also wanted to talk about the SK-II Facial Treatment Essence. I've been using it every single day, especially after all of my skin changes going through pregnancy and post-pregnancy. This has just been a really big lifesaver. There's also nothing in it that's been irritating or made me really worried about putting it on my skin during those times. It's helped a lot in keeping my skin in balance, even when my hormones have been all over the place and causing my skin to just change super drastically. A few years back when I lived in Kansas, with the dramatic weather changes, I would have really bad flaking and peeling and dryness. And ever since I've been using this, I haven't had those kinds of changes, even though the hormones have made my skin to that extreme. I give a lot of credit to this and also for like layering my skincare. So I love this so much. Really highly recommend it. Last but not least at all, I have to talk about the Kate Somerville Exfoliate. I use this about once a week to just refresh my skin, and it's one of the only things where I've seen such a gigantic dramatic difference in the condition of my skin immediately after using it and also the next day. This is an exfoliator and it kind of works in two ways. It actually has chemical parts that will exfoliate and slough off your skin, but it has little granules inside that you massage into your skin, so it physically exfoliates as well. The whole thing only takes maybe about 3 minutes, but like it makes such a huge difference in the glowiness, smoothness. So I will just really heartily recommend this for anybody looking for a really great exfoliator. If your skin is super extra sensitive, they do have a gentle skin version, but even with my skin, which is a little bit on the sensitive side, I still enjoy using the full strength version, and it just keeps my skin looking extra radiant and prepping it for my moisturizers to soak in a little bit deeper. So whether you're a girl or a guy, if you have a little bit rough skin or you just want your skincare products to work a little bit better and soak in nicer, highly recommend trying this out. Test it out, you will fall in love with it. So I guess that is about it for all of my 2016 favorites. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it a little bit helpful. Thank you guys so much again for always tuning in and always coming back to trying out my recommendations and letting me know what you guys think. If you have found this video helpful or any of my past recommendations, I would absolutely feel so appreciative if you would hit that thumbs up button. Feel free to subscribe to see more of my beauty videos, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye!